The air in Bilbao crackled with an almost unbearable tension. San Mamés, a cathedral of football, was the stage. Tottenham Hotspur faced their fierce rivals, Manchester United. This was not just any final, this was the Europa League final. The weight of expectation, the hopes of a generation of fans rested on the shoulders of the players in white. Every pass, every tackle, every breath taken seemed to reverberate around the passionate stadium. The journey here had been long, filled with its own stories of resilience and near misses, but tonight felt different. There was a steeliness, a focus that hinted at a new narrative being written under the Spanish sky, a story that yearned for a triumphant conclusion after so much anticipation. The match itself was a hard-fought contest, a true battle of wills. Chances were few and far between, each one magnified in its importance. Manchester United, themselves hungry for silverware, pressed hard. But Tottenham, under the watchful eye of Ange Postecoglou, showed a resolve that perhaps surprised even their most ardent supporters. They defended as a unit, they attacked with purpose when the moments arose, and they played with a controlled aggression. The single goal, when it finally came, was a moment of pure, unadulterated ecstasy. The roar from the travelling Spurs fans was deafening, a wave of sound that washed over the players, urging them towards the finish line, towards a victory that meant so much. As the final whistle blew, the dam of emotion burst. 17 long years of waiting, of hoping, of dreaming, culminated in this single glorious moment. Players sank to their knees, some in exhaustion, others in sheer disbelief and joy. Heung-min Son, the talismanic captain, was a picture of elation, his face etched with the relief and pride of leading his team to this historic triumph. The celebrations were raw and heartfelt, spilling from the pitch into the stands, where fans who had travelled far and wide embraced each other, tears streaming down their faces. This was more than just a trophy. It was a validation, a statement, a glorious release after a long and often arduous wait for success. Beating Manchester United in such a high-stakes final added an extra layer of sweetness to the victory. It wasn't just about winning a European trophy, it was about overcoming a formidable opponent, a traditional powerhouse of English football on one of the biggest stages. This victory in Bilbao wasn't just a line in the record books. It was a memory seared into the consciousness of every Tottenham fan. It was a night where heroes were made, where the lily-white shirt shone brightly under the floodlights, and where the promise of a new era felt incredibly, tangibly real. The taste of success, so long craved, was finally here, and it was magnificent. The number 17 had hung over Tottenham Hotspur like a stubborn cloud for far too long. 17 years without a major trophy, it was a statistic repeated ad nauseum, a stick with which rivals would gleefully beat the club and its loyal fan base. Each passing season, each near miss, only deepened the ache. There were cup final heartbreaks, league campaigns that promised much but delivered less. The weight of this drought was immense, a psychological burden that seemed to grow heavier with each attempt to break free from its grasp. For the supporters, it meant enduring taunts and maintaining faith when it was often sorely tested, clinging to the hope that their day would come again. This Europa League triumph, therefore, was not just a win, it was an exorcism. It was the definitive end to an era of frustration and the joyous beginning of something new. The Spursy tag, that dreaded label synonymous with snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, felt suddenly wonderfully obsolete. This performance in Bilbao, so dogged and mature, was the antithesis of that stereotype. The team managed the game, they fought for every ball, and they saw it through. This victory rewrote the narrative, not with a whisper, but with a resounding roar of defiance and achievement, silencing the critics and filling the hearts of the faithful with immense pride. The historical significance of this moment cannot be overstated. The Europa League trophy, in its previous incarnation as the UEFA Cup, had last been lifted by a Tottenham captain 53 years prior. Alan Mullery was the hero then, a name etched in Spurs folklore. Now, a new generation of players had added their names to that illustrious list. This connection to a proud past, combined with the promise of a brighter future, made the victory in Bilbao even more profound. It was a bridge between generations of supporters, a shared moment of glory that honored the club's rich history while boldly stepping forward, a testament to enduring passion. The relief among the players and fans was palpable, a collective sigh that echoed from Bilbao back to North London. This was for every supporter who had kept the faith through lean years, for every child who had only heard stories of past glories. This trophy was tangible proof that Tottenham Hotspur were back, not just as contenders but as winners. It was a powerful statement to the rest of the footballing world. The 15-kilogram silver trophy, the heaviest in Europe, felt even weightier for the history it represented and the drought it had so emphatically ended, promising a new chapter filled with optimism. At the heart of this transformation stands one man, Ange Postecoglou. The Australian manager arrived at Tottenham with a clear vision and an unwavering belief in his methods. He famously declared, "I am a winner, mate," and this Europa League triumph is a resounding affirmation of that statement. He didn't just change tactics, he changed the entire mentality of the club. He instilled a sense of purpose, a relentless attacking philosophy, and crucially, a belief that they could compete with and beat the very best. His impact has been nothing short of revolutionary, turning doubters into believers and forging a team in his own image, brave, attacking and resilient. Postecoglou's leadership style is honest and direct. He demands high standards but also fosters a strong sense of unity within the squad. Players like Guglielmo Vicario and Kevin Danso spoke of doing it for their beleaguered boss, a testament to the connection he has built with his players. Despite a challenging league campaign, where injuries often disrupted his plans, the back five in the final hadn't started a Premier League game together in over 6 months. He never wavered. He kept faith in his system and his players, and they, in turn, repaid that faith on the grandest of stages in Bilbao, showing immense character. The team that lifted the trophy was notably young. Of the 15 players who featured in the final, only Heung-min Son was over the age of 28. This youthful energy, harnessed and guided by Postecoglou's experience, proved to be a potent combination. The manager has not been afraid to trust young talents, integrating them into his demanding system and empowering them to express themselves. This focus on building for the future while achieving success in the present speaks volumes about his long-term vision for Tottenham Hotspur. He is not just looking for fleeting victories, he is laying the foundations for sustained success, a project he openly admits is still building. The dogged and mature performance in the final was a hallmark of Postecoglou's influence. Players like Yves Bissouma, Destiny Udogie, and Christian Romero showcased a new side to their game, managing the match with a composure and grit that had perhaps been missing in previous years. This was not the flamboyant, sometimes fragile Spurs of old. This was a team that knew how to win, even when the pressure was at its most intense. Ange Postecoglou has not just delivered a trophy, he has delivered a new identity, a new resilience, and a new hope to a club yearning for sustained glory, truly transforming the atmosphere around Tottenham. The celebrations in Bilbao were long and joyous, with Heung-min Son clutching the trophy, Brennan Johnson proudly displaying a Welsh flag, and every player soaking in a moment they had worked tirelessly for. Dejan Kulusevski, even on crutches, shared in the triumph, a symbol of the squad's collective spirit. But this Europa League victory is more than just a glorious end to a season. It is a significant springboard for Tottenham Hotspur's future. The tangible rewards are immediate and substantial. A place in the prestigious UEFA Super Cup where they will face the Champions League winners, and, crucially, a return to the UEFA Champions League itself, the pinnacle of European club football. This return to Europe's elite competition is vital. It brings with it increased revenue, a higher profile, and the ability to attract even better players to North London. It signals that Tottenham are not just content with domestic challenges, but are ready to compete regularly against the continent's powerhouses. The experience gained from this Europa League run, navigating tough knockout ties and culminating in a high-pressure final, will be invaluable as they step up to the next level. The young squad will have learned what it takes to win in Europe, a lesson that will serve them well in the demanding campaigns that lie ahead. This triumph has the power to reshape perceptions of Tottenham Hotspur. For too long, the club has been seen as a talented but ultimately unfulfilled entity, winning the Europa League, and doing so with such a convincing and mature performance in the final changes that. It demonstrates a newfound winning mentality, a resilience that Ange Postecoglou has painstakingly instilled. This is not just a flash in the pan, it feels like the beginning of a sustained period of competitiveness. The victory acts as a beacon, attracting further talent and reinforcing the belief within the current squad that they are capable of achieving even greater things together. Ange Postecoglou himself remains grounded, stating, "I do not feel like I have completed the job yet. We are still building." This sentiment perfectly encapsulates the feeling around the club. While the Europa League victory is a monumental achievement to be celebrated, it is also seen as a vital stepping stone. The hunger for more success is palpable. With a young, talented squad, a visionary manager, and the taste of silverware fresh in their mouths, the future for Tottenham Hotspur looks incredibly bright. The dawn that broke over Bilbao was not just the start of a new day, but potentially the dawn of a new, glorious era for the Lily Whites.